legacy of a man, a true Nigerian soldier, statesman, and leader by excellence, former President Muhammadu Buhari. I should just touch the tip of the iceberg of my interpersonal relationship with him, which would give us a small glimpse into his persona. Life is full of coincidences. My father actually served with General Buhari when he was a lieutenant in 1963. I was 9 in primary 4 in Lafenwa, Abeokuta, 2nd Battalion. He told me this himself one day under the shade of a tree in his Kaduna residence, that he served first in Abeokuta. He was commissioned. And I said, but my dad, we were all there at the time. Of course, I didn't know him. I was just a child. I only came to know him 11 years afterwards, in 1974. At the time, I was serving in a 3-recce regiment in Port Harcourt, and he had just been posted in as the Colonel General Staff of the division. He was slim, tall, no pot belly, soft-spoken, and he wore his starched uniform well. All the officers respected and admired him, and he was highly regarded. But my proximity to him increased in 1977-78 when I was ADC to General Tiwad Anjuma, then Chief of Army Staff. He was then Minister of Petroleum. He often consulted with the chief then, and when he came to the office, he was never harsh to us young officers. He was kind, easygoing, and he chatted with us. And occasionally when he came to see the general, and he was too busy to see him at that particular moment because he was working, he waited patiently. Unlike some of his colleagues, who, I will not repeat some of the words that they used, most unkind remarks sometimes, but he was always calm and happy. And his residence was actually just behind the ADC's residence. He lived then on Thompson Street at the back, and we lived on Webb Road in Ikoyi. And often when I take messages to him, there was my favorite Kununzagi, always. That's what we used to serve in that, in his residence. I won't forget it. Now, in 1983, when he was appointed GOC 3 Armored Division, we, the Corps Armor Officers, objected. We thought that he ought not to have been the GOC when there were officers like Salvi Ibrahim, who were Corps Armor Officers. And because of the nature of IBB then, as we all know, he was open to officers, loved, well regarded, and you could tell him almost anything. The Sultan can testify to that. He was always ready to listen. And so we approached him and said, why did he post an officer of the ST to be the first GOC Armored Division? And IBB said, calm down, I know what I'm doing. He's a fine officer and he will do well. He soon proved that when the Chadians entered Nigeria and took over some of our islands, General Buhari relocated his headquarters to Maiduguri, took charge of the operation personally, and flushed the Chadians out, and actually went on a pursuit. He went within artillery range of N'Djamena. And if he had not been stopped, maybe today Chad would have been another state of Nigeria. Now, the president was a man of principle. And when he takes a decision, he could be inflexible. No backtracking. Once he believes his reading is right, and I have the example to present. In 1981, he was the president of the exam panel that sets the exam for captain to major staff college qualifying promotion exam. There were 190 of us that wrote that exam. The written exam has 6 papers, of which you must score 50% in each to pass. And out of 190 of us, only 3 of us passed. There was nothing that was not done to persuade him to adjust so that more people will attend the staff college. He refused. He submitted 3 officers, and he was told, but the staff college takes about 100. What do we do? He said, close the staff college course for 1981, and this to staff college. And he stood his ground. The rest, of course, is history. As it happens, throughout the period, he was a military head of state. I was away in America in the school, so I wasn't here completely throughout his tenure. But when I came back as military administrator of Lagos, he was chairman PTF. And we were now about to commission the asphalt plant. And I thought that with the record he set on infrastructure in PTF, he was the right person to invite to commission the asphalt plant. And so I flew to Abuja with my letter, presented it before him in his office, and requested if he could kindly commission the plant. He graciously agreed. On the day of the commissioning, as I was waiting for him in the airport in Lagos, I was going through the newspapers. The Punch newspaper of that morning had a cartoon of me and him. That cartoon depicted me pushing a wheelbarrow with trousers and singlet, sweating with a towel on my shoulder, building roads in Lagos. And it showed President Buhari far behind, opening his eyes and wondering, who is that man there? Then I said, I hope he has seen this newspaper today. And I told my people, please, because we are going to ride in the same car, don't bring any today's newspaper near to this car, send it off. And so he arrived, and I received him, and he was sitting in the car. And I thanked God. I said, I'm sure he has not seen that terrible cartoon. As we were driving along, he then turned to me and said, did you see the cartoon today in the Punch? And he burst out laughing. And I looked at him carefully to see whether it was a fake laughter or genuine laughter. And I found that it was genuine. He was really laughing. And the sense of humor was extremely, extremely high. I joined politics with the CPC. He was, of course, as we all know, loved by the masses, actually adored by the masses. And in CPC, there was no money, as we all know. But somehow, he got those millions and millions of votes. What did he give? The CPC gave 6.2 million naira. I ran his campaign in Adamawa, 6.2 million naira. That could not pay for arranging the venue of where he was coming to address us, talk less of the whole campaign. And when I called our treasurer, Sadia Umar Farouk, at the time, 6.2 million naira, what am I going to do with this? He said, count yourself lucky. Some states got 4 million, and yet people in droves came after him. My next pivotal crossing with His Excellency President Buhari was with regards to PASIDA, Presidential Advisory Committee for the Elimination of Drug Abuse. The brain behind PASIDA, of course, was Her Excellency Dr. Aisha Buhari, who is right here with us. And soon after he appointed me into NDLEA chairmanship, there wasn't one single request that I placed before him, not one, which he did not approve. Barracks, vehicles, arms, equipment, recruitment, everything. And I'm happy to say that the support we received from President Buhari to the agency was continued and even amplified by his successor, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, who graciously renewed my tenure just 4 weeks ago. Thank you very much for the honor, Your Excellency. And in closing, let me recall one important aspect of his character, which is encouraging subordinates and appointees. We made our largest seizure in the NDLEA in September 2022, 2.1 tons of cocaine. That is valued in today's 760 billion naira. And to my surprise, the president was in the UN in New York, and he actually phoned all the way to commend and congratulate us. And that went a long way in encouraging and raising the morale of our officers. And another aspect, quickly, is his generosity. I think most people think that he's tight-fisted. Well, that's not the experience that I had, because one day we were just talking, and I said, I'm going for a medical checkup. Then, as I was going out the door, he called me back. He said, I'm going to send to you. My mind never went that send was money. I thought it's an assignment that I was going to send. And eventually, he sent a very handsome amount. Look at the amount, if you can see it. Handsome amount, so he was quite generous. So wrapping up, the man whose legacy we celebrate today was a man of honor, a man of character, a man of integrity, and a man of principle, an officer and a gentleman, a man who loved the masses and the masses loved him back, a soldier who fought for the territorial integrity of Nigeria, a true statesman. May the Almighty Allah grant him Al-Jannah Firdausis and continue to protect and bless his family. And may the Almighty Allah continue to bless and protect His Excellency, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and his esteemed family. Thank you for listening.